Alright, welcome back. So today we have Odin. He has been requested to do an updated build video for, so let's get right into it now. Odin as a whole, he's an ability based warrior, meaning you're looking for some cooldown reduction at least 20%. A lot of people like to build even more, up to 40%, because that's all he really is used for mid to late game. He's just useful for his ultimate, the Ring of Spears. This allows you to cage enemy targets, and with the recent buffs to it, Odin himself can also walk out of it. So it's a really great setup ability for team fights, and you're looking to get this off as many times as possible, and it already has a low enough cooldown so you can get that even lower to like 30 something seconds, which is huge. In the early game, he is pretty powerful with his 2-1 combo, also known as the Bird Bomb. Pretty efficient at clearing lanes, so that way he's also useful for jungling and also soloing. And that is pretty much it. If you can get some passive stacks on, that's up to 50 physical power, which is almost an entire item itself. But that's enough of the abilities. Now to get into actually building Odin. Now for the solo lane purpose and conquest, it's definitely the Bluestone Pendant. This allows you to get more mana because you're using your abilities to clear, not your auto attacks. And with the passive on Bluestone Pendant, allows your abilities to clear the minion waves a lot more effectively and also do a lot more poke damage to the enemy target. Now if you're jungling, then you go into Bombas. If you're in the long lane, the dual lane, and you're looking to be more support, then you can go the Watchers or a Bluestone Pendant. But more than likely, you probably want to let your Hunter clear the wave, and you just go with the Watcher's Gift in that case. But for now, let's just go into Bluestone Pendant. Then you go to your boots, warrior type boots. No real need for any other boots. If you're supporting, maybe Talaria, and that's about it. Let's just go with the warrior type for now. Now, like I said before, cooldown reduction is very, very good on Odin. And in the same case, if you're solo laning or just any other game mode in general, Breastplate of Valor is a really nice pickup. For the sake of conquest, being in the solo lane, this allows you to have that physical protection against the enemy jungler, which is more than likely physical, and the enemy solo laner, which is more likely physical, like a warrior, assassin, or hunter. And then you go to the Breastplate of Valor. Now let's say if you're laning against a magical god, then that obviously you wouldn't go breastplate right away. You would go into something like Genji's Guard if you still want that cooldown reduction. A lot of magical protection. The MP5 is great for allowing you to use more abilities. You got the cooldown reduction, and the passive ideally is also additional cooldown reduction whenever you get hit by another magical damaging ability. And so that's pretty much the breastplate equivalent for magical gods, and it's also very, very cheap. So you can pick this up later on if you want as your magical protection item. But for now, let's just go into the Breastplate of Valor. And there's many different routes and builds you can go for Odin that are all really effective. The nice thing about most warriors is that they're super flexible in your builds that can go to your playstyle and whatever situation you are in. So let's just go into the Yone draft for now. This is a pretty popular item to pick up after the Breastplate of Valor, giving you a lot more physical power, almost doubling it since you only have 55 right now. This is a huge power spike. And again, the cooldown reduction allows you to have 40% cooldown reduction in the mid game. And so you can make a lot more plays. Now, if you still want cooldown reduction, but you want to be tanky, then there are plenty of other options. You're probably looking to go to the Cloak Tree, looking for Mantle of Discord. Pretty expensive, but you get a lot of protections for both physical and magical, and you get that cooldown reduction that makes it a lot more tankier, obviously. Or the cheaper version, ideally, would be the Spear Robe. You get protections for both, a little bit less than the Mantle of Discord, but you still get the cooldown reduction and the crowd control reduction, which is super useful, and the passive allows you to mitigate a lot more damage. So it's a super tanky item for that cooldown reduction if you really want to. But for now, let's just go into the Yone draft. And then from here, you do need some type of magical protection throughout your build, or else you can get bursted by mages. Or if you're in like an assault and the enemy team is like all physical guys, then obviously you wouldn't need magical protection. But let's just go into the one magical protection item like I mentioned before. In the case you already have full cooldown reduction, there's no point for Genjis. In this case, you just go into the Borg of Hope, which is ideally the next best magical protection item to go into. Or if you're looking to kind of lower the healing and health regeneration of the enemy gods, like let's say you're also laning against Vomana or whatever, or any healers, then you go into the Pestilence. It's an also really cheap and effective item. It's super cheap for a lot of magical protection. Now, if your support is not looking to pick up Hallward, then you can also pick up Hallward for the team if it would be a little bit more supportive. Those are your options there. Runic Shield is just, it's only good against like magical gods with high attack speed, like maybe like Sol, Chronos, Freya's, things like that. But let's just go to the Borg of Hope for now. And as your last item, or your last couple item slots, again, it really depends on what are you trying to do as Odin. If you're looking to be tanky, a little bit more supportish, and just looking for a lot of good setups, Void Shield is not too bad of a pickup, especially if you have a really good jungler and hunter. This allows you to, when you start the team fire with your cage, that ensures your carry is going to do a lot more damage because you're shredding physical protection from your targets in that cage. So Void Shield is super effective. Shifters has had its price reduced recently. It's also a really good pickup. If you're looking for more damage just like from yourself, then you can go into Times Bane looking for that penetration, or that is pretty much it. Void Shield, you don't really looking for basic attacks, so you wouldn't go into Stone Cutting Sword. And then again, if you're looking to be a little bit more tanky, then you go into your other tanky items like the Mantle of Discord, Spear Rub. Now, Highlight Urchin's really good, though I wouldn't recommend getting it late in the game because typically you're not going to see that many more kills and assists. But if it's a really long, drawn-out match, I would say, and you're on the winning side, getting a lot of kills and assists, then you can get it away with picking up Highlight Urchins, you know, in your build. The most effective way to buy it is like in place of Yo Dress. So if you sell that, or let's say you didn't pick that up and then you just go into Highlight Urchin, you can pick that up in the Highlight Urchin's place. That's another really good way to go about it. But let's just say the most like default build will probably be like Void Shield and sell. It'll probably be something like this. You have a lot of protections, and you also have a lot of protection shred from on your targets, and you have cap cooldown reduction. This is probably the most effective build you can go into. Now you can go into Frostbound Hammer if you really want to. It's not super necessary since your ultimate reduces the enemy's attack speed, but it does not reduce your movement speed, so you can go into Frostbound. It's another good pickup anywhere in your build. That's a really good item. And again, like the items I mentioned before, if you're having a hard time against Hunters or Assassins, Midgardian Mail is the item to go into. You can pick this up whenever you build. Whenever like throughout your build. But the main thing about Odin and the point I'm trying to get across is you definitely want to have cooldown reduction and you want to have protections. Penetration is up to you. If you want to do damage, then obviously you need penetration, so that's a totally optional build to go into. But what you do need is protections and cooldown reductions. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully I went through a decent amount of items and why would you build them and why would you get them and things like that. And that's pretty much it. As far as relics, I have a couple ones here. Blink, this allows you to blink, then use your ultimate, and that lets you save your lunge to get out, or, you know, let's say if you get CC, then get out. I mean, obviously you can still walk out of your own cage, but let's say if you're getting like crowd controlled inside, you can probably lunge out, or just scare people. And solo lane for warriors, it's pretty typical to go into the teleport, which, can I sell it? I don't think I can sell my relics here. Nope. But it's this one right here, where my mouse cursor is. That is teleport. This allows you to get back to your lane in the solo lane a lot more faster and get a lot more farm and be ahead versus somebody that doesn't have teleport. As well, you can go into sprint and or weakening. Weakening is probably not too good for Odin since you already have healing reduction on your ultimate. The weakening purpose would just be to slow your target, but I would rather just go with sprint since you already have the anti-healing with your ultimate. And that is pretty much it. For assault, you probably go into meditation right here. To be a little bit more supportive, you probably go in the shell for your team fights because it can get really clustered up in your ultimate. And that's pretty much it. Again, hopefully I provided you with some good information about what builds and what items are good for Odin, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.